Today's video is going to be on the things that I wish I knew before I switched over medical school to a new, I can't even say it, but to a new medical school. For those of you that have just watched my last one, I look exactly the same because I'm filming this one just after that one. I just thought I'd just be a little bit kind of more productive, or like more, I don't know what the word is. You know the word, I'm just trying to kill two birds with one stone basically, and do two in one go. But those of you who don't know, I moved medical schools. I went from St Andrews to Manchester, and obviously there are differences. It's like moving high school. There's things that are going to be different. It's a brand new environment, teaching is slightly different, and there's new people, a whole load of new things. And this is just a little bit of kind of things I probably would have said to myself in retrospect, in a retrospective account. And I don't know the word I'm trying to say. But anyway, I'm going to split this video into 3 different sections. First of all, why I moved medical schools. Secondly, if there's any major differences. And thirdly, what would I say to myself? If you don't already know why I moved medical school, feel free to check out my previous videos. If you can't be bothered to go and have a look at those, I'll just tell you now. So I moved over from St Andrews to Manchester, and the reason for that is it's just the way the course is. So at St Andrews you have 3 years, and then you do your last 3 years at another medical school. You do your preclinical years first at St Andrews, and those are like the bookwork years, and then the last 3 are like your clinical teaching hospital kind of environment sort of years. And you can either stay in Scotland or you can go to Manchester or Barts. I'm at Manchester. Very simple, very easy. Next section, looking at if there's any major differences, and I can say straight out, yes, it's a major difference. There's a major difference, lots of major differences. Obviously, I'm moving over from a preclinical state to a clinical state, so teaching is going to be different. Because obviously you're moving from a predominantly like learning state to more of learning on the job kind of state, so like learning bookwork to learning in a hospital environment. Obviously that's going to be completely different, but I think another key difference that made it even more was the fact that both medical schools have a very different format of teaching. So I probably should know this. I probably should have like brushed up on this before I did this video. But if you don't know, different medical schools in the UK have different formats of teaching. Traditional teaching is what I was at previously. So St Andrews uses the traditional format, predominantly lectures and that kind of way. I'm pretty sure it's it's just what I'm used to. And then PBL, so problem-based learning, is what they do at Manchester, which means that you're basically given a case to work on, which is surrounding like a particular topic, and you will research that particular topic, the background, the treatments, the management, etc., etc. And then at the end of the week you'll come together with a group and you'll discuss a new case surrounding that topic. So for example, the topic that you're given for the week is hypertension, high blood pressure. You are going to research everything around hypertension over the week, and then come together at the end of the week, and then you'll go over a few cases that have something to do with hypertension. That's just how Manchester students, that's how the course is run at Manchester. That is very different to what I'm used to, because it means that it's a lot more self-directed learning. So you go away, you learn yourself, as opposed to, I would say, lectures are more of, this is like, it's kind of not spoon-fed, but yeah, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. It's they're telling you all the information, but it's a lot of lectures that you tend to have in one go. Obviously then I've had to adjust to that, getting used to more self-directed learning and more researching by myself. I've actually like enjoyed that quite a bit, because you can delve however deep you want to go, if that makes sense, because you can go like super into something and it necessarily won't be relevant towards the case at the end of the week, but you know yourself that you've kind of gone into a topic like heavy, or you could, for example, kind of lightly brush over it if you were really like pressured for time that week. So it's quite nice, and also you learn from other people as well, which is quite good. Like, say for example, someone else has been using a really good resource that you don't know about, you pick up from them and you learn from them as well, which is quite good. That's obviously been very difficult now because a lot of it is done through Zoom, which means that there can be sometimes some logistical kind of problems, and you don't get that kind of face-to-face interaction, the proper face-to-face interaction as you would do normally with a group. It's very difficult to communicate through Zoom sometimes, so it has its own problems. What another like massive key difference that I have to say is that I had an extra year. So the course at St Andrews, we have 3 years preclinical, whereas in Manchester there are only 2 years preclinical. We do a BSc, so I think that allocates more time, but just saying that the fact that we have an extra year, of course we're going to get more teaching in that. I'm not going to lie about it at all. You can fit in more in an extra year, whether that be experience for more like practical clinical experience. Say for example examinations, you have more time to go over examinations and teaching examinations, or actually even just actual nitty-gritty kind of learning. You've got more time. A lot can happen in a year, so I would say that's a very big difference that I noticed. Coming over to Manchester, you do feel like you've got like another year's worth of medical knowledge compared to those that are there. That doesn't mean at all that Manchester students are like less competent or whatever. If anything, that's completely the opposite. They pick up things very, very quickly because they're used to like learning by themselves, and they're quite quick in that sense. But that initial move over, you do notice that difference. You do notice that there are a few things that you potentially know a lot more, which obviously works in my advantage, like for me moving over because I'm the one moving over, but then you can then fall into the trap of becoming lazy, and then it just like all goes, like it's all completely obsolete. So I think even though that initially seems like a really good thing, I've tried not to be quite lazy. I've tried to like do a little bit of work, not crazy amount of work, but a little bit of work, and not get lazy with it. So now moving on to the last section of this video, what would I tell my past self? First of all, I would actually tell my past self to do some research on the course. This probably sounds really silly for me to admit, and I will admit it. I didn't even know that Manchester was PBL. Like, I didn't even know that how different the course was, and that's my own fault. I should have researched that myself. I should have taken some time out to understand how things are done, because then that would have saved me a lot of kind of confusion at the beginning. And I would tell my past self to spend a little bit of time or speak to people that are in older years to just gain that little bit of like knowledge, because it helps you and just saves time basically. Oh, and not just like with like the way the course is run, but also the fact of moving over from a preclinical to clinical years. I think it's really important to ask older years how things are done, because I think not only me, but a lot of my friends were quite confused about how submissions are done, or I know they give out lots of information, but it just can seem like an information overload. So just asking about that transition period, about moving from a preclinical to clinical, preclinical years to clinical years, like what is expected of you, what should you be doing, and how often should you be doing it? I think those are the very key questions to ask and to get answered. Another thing that I would tell myself is to make friends with students that are going to the medical school that already go to the medical school that I'm going to. So in my stance, making friends with Manchester students, because it really helps when you need someone to answer your questions. Like they're obviously going to know about who to email if there's any problems, about how the course is run. They've been there for the past few years, so they definitely are going to know it. it makes your life so much easier and just means that you can go through things a lot more smoothly. And that's one thing that's helped me, even though I was confused at the beginning, because I made friends with people that like are Manchester students, that really did help me in that transition. And the last thing I would definitely say to myself is just don't stress about it. Obviously, moving to a brand new school, whether that be like a medical school like I did or a high school, whatever, is going to be stressful. You're going to a brand new environment, there's new people, and that brings challenges, but that can actually also be really exciting. The fact that those challenges are just a whole new environment, and it's exciting the fact that you can go down any path. It's yeah, I feel like it's quite exciting. For me, I find that quite exciting. So don't stress about it. I know it can seem incredibly stressful going into a brand new area and zone and whatever, but if anything, try to use that to your advantage. You can literally take off wherever. So those are my little tips that I would say to myself in my past state, my little reflection bit that I do at the end. And yeah, I think that brings me to the end of this video. If you have any questions for me, don't forget to comment down below. So like this video, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I hope you found this interesting, and yeah, I hope to see you next time.